But there's certain things I completely still hold true. I did anti-PC material years ago, and everyone thought I was a conspiracy theorist. I was going, no. This is like intellectual colonialism, man. They're going to start. They can bend this into thought crime. They can bend this into so that they break down all functions of society, turn all society into this kind of subjective postmodernist sort of soup where no one's allowed to say anything because someone gets offended, which leads into this and that, and that's
where we're heading.
That's a dangerous world,
Everybody's touchy about everything.
Yeah, and that you can't have that, and it's happening. And I told them 10 years ago, and did comedy about it. No, I didn't. And people go, Steve's a bit nuts. I'm going, well, you're all watching it now, aren't you? Because all you're watching these 20-year-old SJWs who have, come of age, the harvest from the children of the damned, as I call them. They've all come through school governed by political correctness, pumped full of Ritalin, and now they're all running around with green hair and Doc Martens and neck tattoos thinking they're nonconformist while they're wasting their youth trying to be activists for groups that they've never even met, who they didn't ask to be the spokespeople for these apparent minorities who are oppressed by, well, everyone's a minority of these people except white, straight men, because they live under a colonialist, patriarchal, Christian, paedophile system that has just oppressed everyone in the world. And so white, cisgendered males, as they now call us, should all just shut up while everybody else who's a minority gets brought up into this form of equality based around collectivism and no one ever being offended again. And I'm like, well, excuse me, you people are insane. This isn't going to work. What are you talking about? What are your utopia of some kind of a global equality it's an illusion. What are you talking about?
I used to think it was possible.
No, it isn't. You don't want it to be possible. It's not possible. What are you talking about? Political correctness is such a trick because really you can't argue with its points, because in one sense I've just grew up a metalhead and then a comedian, so I've never really had a specific political side. I'm not left, I'm not right, but through the way I've thought most of my life, which is the way usually a lot of my creative friends and creative people do, we've just grown up without thinking about having a political attached to a specific political group. We've basically been lefties. I've never been racist. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're a bloke and you want to wear a dress. I don't care if two blokes want to get married.
Yeah, that's what I mean about like a worldwide utopia.
Yeah. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've traveled. I've been to Russia. I've been to China.
Yeah, we've travelled. We've travelled, I've been to 38 countries. You've probably been to more. So you sit there going, watching some 20-year-old on the YouTube talking to you like, and this is how you're supposed to behave, everybody. How old are you? Oh, look at this joke now. When I was young and I knew girls with green hair and Doc Martens and tattoos, they were at metal or punk gigs and they were cool. Now when I see a young girl with green hair and Doc Martens, I'm like, get that fucking thing away from me. All right? Don't look at it. It'll scream rape. Don't look at it. Don't touch it. Don't go near it. It'll call you some kind of ism or a phobe. And yeah, right. And it'll stand on its moral high ground thinking that it can direct everybody to this illusionary utopia where no one ever gets offended again. Because that seems to be what they want, isn't it? Where no one ever gets offended, there's no discrimination, everyone gets fair chances, everyone has enough to eat, everyone has this. Now, of course, their ideas, how can you argue against that? Who really wouldn't want that unless you're a psychopath?
Yeah.
It'd be a wonderful world to think that everyone had enough to eat, you could always get the kind of job that you wanted, that you weren't looked upon, you weren't discriminated against, people didn't attack you, people didn't do this. It was, basically, they're asking for a world without pain.
Yeah.
Can we have a world without pain? No, you can't, right? So you it's an illusion that you're going to create this. So there's going to be some pain in your life. And guess what? The strongest and coolest and some of the most deepest spiritual thinkers in all of our history have told you how pain can make you better. It can make you a better person. When we grew up, it was like the kids that got picked on at school. Of course it can be dangerous if kids get bullied at school because people have different genetics, people have different experiences at home, they have different psychologies and how they interpret the things that go on, that happen to them. So of course you can get some kids that go a bit nuts or perhaps at the worst scenario kill themselves. But that's not going to be fixed by you just then giving every kid in school a trophy because he played soccer. Yeah, they do that now. You get a trophy to compete.
Yeah.
You don't get it because you win. You get it because you had a go. But that doesn't do anything. What's that do? That cuts down any kind of entrepreneurial spirit, any kind of... Well, of course there's some kids that are better at sport in school. I couldn't play sport. I ran. I've got 6 foot long legs. I look like a giraffe on ice, and everybody laughed.
Kids got humiliated in sports, went home and thought, I better, am I good at science?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not my skill.
Yeah, I wasn't good at science, maths, or sport, and I was in Australia in the 70s, so I was like, and my upbringing was dysfunctional, and completely broken home in that sense of emotional security. So, yeah, I've got issues. I've got serious fucking issues. Some of them brought on this fucking breakdown, right? So it's like, but it brought me to what? Art. What I am good at. What I could do. Brought me to that. Then there's also the level of self-responsibility. It's the whole world has not conspired against Steve Hughes to make him have his issues. So I've got my issues, so now I have to fucking deal with them. There's a level of self-responsibility that you have to take. How do you... See, when people go, I'm offended, I've never been offended in my life. I don't know what they're talking about. I can be disgusted. I can be, I can see, if you see 4 men standing around kicking a dog, you're like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong, but I'm not offended. Like, I'm not, it's a different thing. Someone could come up to me and go, you're a big gay, skinny, no-ass bastard. I might feel bad, but it's what's happening in me. So there's a part of me that feels bad, because if I didn't care that I was a long, skinny, no-ass bastard, and they said that, then it wouldn't affect me. So if it does affect me, then there's something happening in me, and the thing that's happening in me is my responsibility. And if I can deal with that pain that's happening in me, that's making me feel upset or humiliated about this, then perhaps I can become like a god. You can, because everyone's got their shit to deal with. Now, of course, some people are getting a worse ride than others on the planet. But you can't run it around just going, well, what's our first move for this utopia? Well, no one's to get offended ever again. See, that's not even a tactic. It's because it's an impossible, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So,
look
what kind of plan of attack is this?
Oh, look what's happened in the United States with, I like the Bill Maher's show, Real Time. And so he spouted off about this a lot in the last year, about how these really hardcore PC left-wing people will get all upset over like the minor infractions. Like Steve Martin said, I forget who he was talking about, Linda Ronstadt or something, that not only was she a beautiful woman, she had a beautiful brain. And there was a big outrage, like, oh, how dare he, talk about her body or outer shell, like not judge her just as a person. It was like, so like they've done these real PC flip outs over these minor things. Meanwhile, they let that lacked political organization, that let Trump rise to power and all this shit, because they're so busy worrying about
it's a complete,
these little tiny things.
A complete divide and conquer strategy, isn't it?
What are you doing?
I need my glasses. It's getting the.
They're right there on the.
It's getting everybody to fight amongst themselves. I mean, I could talk about this forever. I'm sorry, folks. It's a bit of a disjointed podcast. We've gone from me having a breakdown to psych pills and
it's all tied in.
My buddy ringing halfway through. But it's.
So you're trying to provoke PC people and feminists.
No,
right?
no, I'm not trying to provoke them. They provoke themselves.
Easily, every time they leave the house.
Every time they leave the house. I don't know how they go outside. I can't believe how many racists, bigots...
ask for a yellow bus stop.
It seems to me, I just go outside sometimes during the day and go to the shops and stuff, and I just see men and women and kids and that doing some shopping, and there's some Indian people and some black fellas and some whites and some Chinese guys, and everyone's just going to the bank or doing some shopping and that. But for some reason, these people go outside and see Nazis and bigots and... Where are you going? I just went to the shops and bought some almonds off the chick at the organic store. I called her darling. She didn't say anything. She didn't spaz out. So they offend themselves. They offend themselves. But I think we're seeing a harvest now because I haven't been to school like you for probably 30 years. So when we grew up, in Australia, they hit you with a cane. They get a bamboo stick, and you muck up, then they just hit you across the hand 6 times or across your back of your leg 6 times. And if you were the fat kid that couldn't kick a ball, then everybody laughed at you. And if you're a skinny kid like me that couldn't kick a ball, then they laughed at you. And you dealt with that shit. But now, we don't know if these kids have been at school with this PC stuff coming in, and they're teaching 5-year-olds about homosexual rights and transgender rights and that, and plus going, oh, you're a bit mental, so have some Ritalin. We know your brain doesn't stop developing till you're 24, but you're 6. I think it's time for some hardcore psychiatric drugs, don't you? So I'll gladly be called a conspiracy theorist. I don't care, because lots of the things conspiracy theorists talk about are happening in front of your very eyes, and if you can't see it, then
like what?
Like what? The whole meltdown of your society through something like this, through political correctness. PC people, conspiracy people have been talking about this for ages. Talking about it for ages. Don't you see what they're doing? They're deconstructing. The West seems to be deconstructing itself, right? It seems to me that social justice warriors, as they're called, warriors, funny, when we grew up, warriors, especially back in the hundreds or a couple of hundred years ago, a warrior was someone who had to get sort of reached a certain age of 16 or 18 at manhood and then got hung up by his nipples from hooks for 3 days and wasn't allowed to eat, and then got sent into the desert for 40 nights to just eat scorpions. And then when he came back, if he wasn't dead, he was like a man. And now you're a warrior because you've got green hair and you're sitting behind a keyboard getting offended and everything, right? I'm thinking, oh, well, let's hope the next people that come to attack our society, lucky we've got our warriors here to defend us, right? Right? You're warriors? Jesus Christ. So it seems to me what's happening to them, these social justice warriors, well, they seem to hate capitalism. They're all anti-capitalist, aren't they? They hate capitalism, right? Now, obviously, is capitalism, ironically, of course, if they hate capitalism while they'll gladly reap the rewards of its oppression as they sit there on their iPhones in Starbucks waiting to get their cheap flight to the anti-capitalist march. Okay, so you hate capitalism. Now, is capitalism a system that is exploitative, has, created pain and misery and stolen things off certain cultures? And that? Yes, it is. Right? Why? Because it's a system made by human beings. And sometimes when systems are made by human beings, arseholes get in charge of it and run amok and fuck things around for their own ends, right? Like all systems that people have ever run. Has there ever been this utopian Garden of Eden they talk about on the earth in all of history? No. So what are you going to replace this capitalism with? Well, they run around with their Che Guevara shirts and their hammer and sickles thinking, well, just whack a bit of communism in there. That should sort it out. Right? Oh, okay. Well, should we go and dig up the 100 million dead bodies in Russia and China and ask them how that all panned out? Right? Right? I mean, sure, equality looks tops on paper. Look, everyone gets the same as everybody else. And who's going to dish this out? You're still going to have a hierarchy to dish it out. You're going to trust them to do it? Well, okay, whatever.
Yeah, right. I mean, you've been to communist countries.
Yeah.
I was in Beijing. I saw a red Ferrari at a stoplight, and then there was an old man pulling a cart full of scrap metal like a donkey.
I don't even know.
That's not equal distribution of wealth.
And it doesn't pan out to this equal distribution of wealth because someone's got to be in charge of it. And when people get in charge of things, they get into positions of power, and it's quite difficult to run a whole country. You have to end up being a bit of an arsehole to do it, because we're not amazing people yet. We're not amazing.
Yeah, and capitalism, greedy fuckers.
Of course it is.
The whole system is designed for them. I'm not against capitalism. I would like to own property, and I'd like to have just an apartment, get a car.
I know it's ruthless. I know it's ruthless. Of course it is. I mean, capitalism invented the thing where they just make things to break now.
Why? General Motors. That's what sent them in the toilet in the '80s. They made obsolete parts that would only last a certain amount of time, and then
they do
wear
that in
out.
everything now. They do it. My mates have still got.
And the Apple, they make like $30 billion a year or something off of just accessories.
Yeah, of course, because it's all made to break.
Cards and
I've got friends who have still got CD players from the '80s, blasters. Your beatbox still working. But you buy one in the last 10 years, after 6 months, doesn't the laser doesn't work anymore. It won't play. So of course there's shit things about capitalism, right? But at the moment, that's what you've got. Oh, well, shouldn't we fight against it? Well, perhaps you should, but your tactics aren't going to work. So what else do they hate? Well, they seem to hate colonialism, even though they're and this is all coming from the white people.
Yeah.
In the colonialist, capitalist.
Yeah, it's funny. I've heard
right.
Since I've been in Australia, I've heard a lot of white Australians tell me that Australia Day should be called Invasion Day.
Yeah, well, it always has been by Aboriginals. And I used to think this too. I grew up in this country on the side of the Aboriginals. I've been a lefty my whole life.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm for Native Americans.
Of course it is. Because it's caused misery. It's caused misery, and it's caused suffering, and it's caused
empathy. You're an aware, intelligent human being. Of course.
And I think some of these ancient people have wisdom that we need. Connected to the earth and stuff like this, a more simplistic understanding of the universe and the earth and their role in it. But this is the reality we're in. So they hate Western expansionism, colonialism, because probably they seem to think that history's 400 years old. So why? Because what do they view? Well, they can view Canada, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. They're the kind of your most modern white expansionist countries, it seems to me, that have gone around, done all this, and now we've got Israel to top it off. The gods of the universe, who can't say anything bad about them ever. And then, so now we've got so they kind of remember that. So these white people have gone and done this. Yeah, but human beings have been running around in empires for time immemorial, stealing shit and carrying on. Muslims have done it, Asians have done it. I don't know if Africans did it. Well, they probably did it to each other. But people run around, haven't they? They've done it. But white man, he managed to do it the last 2 or 4, 500 years with technology. So he turned up, instead of just having a big, we've got guns and that now. Right? So we'll do, and they still do colonialism, just they don't turn up and steal or kill all your people and take your land. They just do it economically. Because, of course, capitalism has merged into the colonialist idea, so we'll just go in then, carve up your country, and we'll take all your natural resources. Why? Because we'll get the World Bank to put you in debt. Now you're in debt. So this is a very complex thing you young lefties are trying to run around and fix by just telling everybody to stop talking. Right? It's ludicrous. So they hate capitalism, they hate colonialism and Western expansionism, and they hate religion as long as it's Christianity. Because they can't talk about Jews, because they don't know what they think anyway, and they're off limits. And then they've got to support the Muslims, because Muslims in their multicultural countries, which are so racist, even though they're the only multicultural countries on earth, well, they're in the minority bracket. All 1.8 billion of them. And because most Muslims aren't white, they must be oppressed. This is how they seem to think. So, in fact, everyone's oppressed except white heterosexual men, who are part of the patriarchy, which are part of Western expansionism, and run the corporations. So we've got to destroy all this, right? What they're going to replace it with, I don't know. They're Che Guevara shirts, right? Right? So he seems to be their thing. So what they're like doing now is, to me, they're like a cancer. They hate themselves. Because a lot of the people running around freaking out about it, taking on the moral high ground and becoming the voices of the oppressed. No one asked, I can't remember the oppressed coming up and asking them to speak on their behalf, but apparently they've taken this role. So now what they're really doing is that they hate themselves. They hate their own culture. Because they are capitalist white people in a colonialist country. But they want that destroyed. So what they want to do is they want to kill the host. They're like a cancer.
Kill themselves. That's
what cancer does. The irony of cancer is that it kills the very thing that keeps it alive, which is you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's what they're like. They're like a cancer. I support Milo Yiannopoulos when he walked on stage and just went, "Here's my speech. Feminism is cancer. Thank you," and walked off. And he's right. He's right in a literal sense.
The gay guy who had who was the Breitbart editor.
Well, I've been a lefty all my life, and now I'm starting to listen to right-wing conservatives and realising I'm on their side.
Really?
Completely.
Like which one? Milo Yiannopoulos?
Oh, yeah. Because I can't stand these PC people because they're out of control.
So now you're on the right side?
Well, I'm not any kind of right-wing, racist lunatic. Everyone, black people shouldn't have kids kind of lunatic.
Right.
I'm just, but in this sphere of argument about political correctness, free speech, yes, I've turned it because they're making more sense now. You lefties are out of control. You're absolutely out of control. You make no sense. You're not even rational because you think you've got the moral high ground. Because you think you're trying to create this illusionary utopia for everybody. So anybody that disagrees with you, you just call a racist, a bigot, a sexist, a homophobe, a misogynist.
Nazi.
A Nazi. Oh, Nazi. They're so popular now. They're just everywhere. Nazis. In fact, I wrote up my own pyramid of the sort of arsenal of accusations they have. I think it goes Nazi. That's the king. Then you have racist, fascist, then you get sexist, misogynist, ableist, then you get xenophobe, transphobe, Islamophobe, xenophobe, or whatever it is, homophobe, and then you get your bigots, your fat shamers, your Christians, your conspiracy theorists, and hate speech. And underneath there is just the rest of the mainstream ignorant mass, right? Right? Who need to conform to the moral high ground of the left, right? And then, of course, then my other joke was, and then that's your pyramid. And once you hit Nazi status, you really can't go beyond Nazi status. That's the king of the.
It's the worst thing you could be, right?
Well, I thought that till I realised if you get
Cambodian baby killer.
No. I think if you get called a Nazi, if you step out of line once, then you reach into another bracket, which is a singular bracket, which is the all-seeing eye overlord of the accusational arsenal, which is anti-Semite.
That's the worst thing.
That's the worst one. There you go. There's the king.
I saw something online the other day that said all left-wing people see Nazis everywhere, and
right-wing people see communists everywhere.
Yeah, right-wing people see communists everywhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's interesting.
Well,
everybody's looking for an enemy, and to label them and hate.
But we're not just.
What have you gained from your right wing?
Tons of material. Well, I've got some fantastic swastikas.
You and Rupert Murdoch are golfing now?
Oh, we're golfing. Me and Rush Limbaugh are having brunch. Oh, yeah. I'm ringing up David Horowitz every second day.
In Zimbabwe once they flip that country again.
Come. We'll carve it up. We'll get rid of the natives. But, this is a complex thing. I'm just a one bloke on the earth that likes heavy metal and does comedy, so I don't have the answers. I wasn't in the secret New World Order war room, but I've done a lot. I've done 20 years of research down different avenues, and I just sit there and go, well, it's happening. I wrote a joke the other day. There's a feminist in Australia called Clementine Ford, who's brutal, right? Who's brutal. Who's just out there, and she can say whatever she wants, and she does this, and she does that. She's totally there, fuck men, and fuck this, and fuck men, and you can see it everywhere. Fuck men, it's happening. Feminists are everywhere. Men haven't done anything for us. What have men ever fucking done? I don't know. Built the world. Jesus Christ. So I wrote on Facebook the other day because I try and because I realise Facebook is a stupid forum for any kind of discussion about anything that's got any depth or sensitivity to it, right? Which is going to rile feathers. Facebook is wonderful if you all want to talk about what's your favourite Iron Maiden album. Right, it's not going to cause too many problems,
Vacation photos.
Yeah, if you think Somewhere in Time is better than Number of the Beast, you can have a bit of which Number of the Beast is far better than Somewhere in Time. But you can. That's all a bit of fun. What's the best singer from Van Halen? David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar? Right? Okay, we can have a chat about that. But if you want to talk about vaccinations or evolution or religion or feminism or transgenderism, then it's a stupid forum because everybody from the left will automatically attack with vitriol, hatred, accusations, and you'll get 300 comments from one statement. Now, that's stupid. How can you have a conversation about something that requires listening and depth?
It could be anything, and it doesn't have to be left-wing people. The people get upset over anything, and on Facebook. I posted a picture with Mike Tyson last year, and all these English comedians left me. How could you take a photo with that rapist and all this? You know,
You joke?
the guy. No, like I'll tell you names when we're not when we turn off the recording. Friends of ours, comedians, were were vitriolic grief. They were like, giving me a really hard time, and I'm like.
What?
The guy, yes, he was a rapist. Yes, he's a violent person, but he had served his prison time, and now he's out doing a one-man show, and he was at the same venue as I was, and I had the opportunity to take a photo with him. I wasn't endorsing fucking rape.
I know. The people are good.
So it's not just like left-wing people. It's like, who knows?
Yeah, but then maybe they are left-wing now. Well, see, these are just names. This seems to be a thing that's happening around everybody. It's just divide and rule, as far as I'm concerned. Everyone's fighting amongst themselves while you're all getting fucked in the arse. So, this Clementine Ford, right? So I wrote on Facebook, wrote a name, capital C, little L, then wrote MEN, because obviously her name has the word men in it. Right? Put that in capitals, Tyne Ford, and wrote, God, she must hate that. Right? Because she's a far right, she's a full-on feminist activist, hardcore. She's a public figure, and she's a public figure, so she's open to ridicule, like I am. If I want to go up there, as soon as you put anything out into a public forum, you're open to ridicule. If you record an album and put it out, you can't say you can't review it.
Yeah,
it's out there now. There's a part of it that's not yours anymore. It's in the public domain. Yeah. So if you want to stand around and preach and carry on, then you're open to ridicule. That's the way it goes. Not everybody likes my comedy, and if they went and they were reviewing it, they'd tell me. I can't ring them up and go, you can't say that. No, they don't like it, right? So I just wrote this joke, right? It's not even a real good joke. It's just a crap pun. That was 3 days ago. It hasn't stopped.
I saw some of the comments. I saw
hasn't stopped.
I saw the post. Like a mild firestorm.
People
wanting to fight you. People wanting to. Wow.
Over that.
Yeah.
It's just 7 letters, 7 words. Just a crap pun joke. And see, I watch them and I see what happens, and I do that because I want to draw them out, and I want to draw them out because you can't argue with these people. You can't argue with these people because they're kind of operating in this kind of, and I didn't work this out myself, smarter men than me have taught me, it seems to be this kind of postmodernist, subjective, neo-progressive Marxist idea where there's no objective truth. And so everything's just got to be sort of a subjective, whatever you think is how it should be, and that should be respected. This is like transgenderism. Oh, we've got 30, 40 different genders, have we now? So you want to be, you're a demi-gender, bi, cross-binary, non-gender fluid, half man, half woman, and that you need to respect that. Well, no, I don't, because most people aren't. So what do you want us to do? Instead of just going, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Flight 159, we'll be taking off. You want us to go, ladies and gentlemen, and non-genders, and non-binaries, and gender fluids, and homosexuals, and hermaphrodites, and transvestites, and gender fluid men who sometimes think they're women, and gender fluid. Yeah, don't forget the bed. Yeah, so you open it up to everybody. That's why it's never ending. You just go on into infinitum. That you can never satisfy these people, and also you never satisfy them because they're not defending anything. The right are defending something because the right are like traditionalists. That's what a conservative is, isn't it? In my simplistic understanding of the way these two dynamics would work. I'm not an intellectual and I don't understand the complexities of politics, but it seems to me that you conservatives, they like traditions, don't they? Borders, traditions, things that hold the society into a kind of framework of how it operates.
Yeah.
The things that it keeps on the fringe, so that the way it operates it operates for the majority in the best way it can see. Right? So if you want to be in the West, if you want to be a Satanist, you can. But really we're not going to let you come in and just have the same amount of airtime on TV as everybody else, right? Because it doesn't really work for our society. But once you create this kind of everything needs to be respected, everything, and respected. Why should it be respected? You have to earn respect. I don't just respect you. Right? I respect the drummer in Rush. Why? Because he's amazing. He wrote all the lyrics. He's a genius. Yeah, Neil Peart. Because he rode his bike across Africa, wrote a book about it. His wife and daughter passed away in 1 year. He wrote a book about that, went on the road, dealt with that. He's a quiet, humble guy who the last thing ever cross his mind would he demand my respect. He gets it because of his body of work and the man that I think that he is from his work and the interviews I've seen. So I respect that guy, right? But you can't just walk up to me and go, respect me. Well, I don't even know you. Well, I'm a cross, non-binary unicorn. And that's how I define myself. Yeah, but see, some chick... here's what happens. And now the people who can't deal with this, because it makes no sense, because it's not operating in any kind of framework, we're also wasting our energy continually talking about it with each other, going, what's wrong with these people? So then I go, well, there's got to be an agenda going on. Why? Because it seems to be happening in most Western countries. So why is it happening in most Western countries? Surely someone set it up. Because what, did everyone just agree? From Finland to the Netherlands to Australia to New Zealand to Canada to the United States to Spain to Romania to Poland to Hungary to Norway to Sweden, because it's happening all around these countries. What, they all just agreed? It's like no smoking around all the Western world now. Why? Did they all just agree?
They did.
Yeah, but how? Most people can't even agree what film to go and see. How did all these nations on different parts of the world just happen to go, yeah, that's a good idea?
Well, I think smoking is a little more...
No, but smoking, of course...
people dropping dead and government money...
The government doesn't give a fuck about whether you drop dead. They're selling you the cigarettes. Drug dealers don't care if you die, if you sell them heroin. They care if they're losing customers.
Yeah, a lot of money to be made off of cancer treatment as well.
Completely. So this is a complex bunch of stuff which isn't going to be solved by people.
But to compare that to
no, but they're the things
transgender people wanting rights.
No, there's a connection.
There is.
Of course there is. You have to think, because it's complex. See, banning no smoking is a great way. Of course, it seems all the non-smokers are happy, and the people that perhaps want to give up cigarettes are happy, and you have this, because it's, okay, we've done reports, it kills you, right? But that's a great way to take away a small freedom, initially, that seems like a noble idea. See, what the West had, which other countries didn't have, or at least what the West had, right? I don't know what other countries had, I haven't been to them all. But in the West, didn't we at some point make the idea that the state can't tell you how to live your life? So if you want to smoke yourself to death, then that's your right.
Yeah, and they call it the nanny state now, because like New York banning big 32-ounce sugar water drinks and shit like that, that they feel like the government is, getting too involved in your life.
That's exactly it. What have you done? You've handed your responsibility back to the state. Which didn't the West fight for hundreds of years to not have that happen? So that if you want to eat yourself to death with pork fat and chips and smoke cigarettes and drink whiskey and you die at 43, that's your right.
Should be your right not to vote. Should be your right to not read a fucking book.
Yeah, that's your vote. Like. If you want to be a dumb, fat, die at 42 guy, you can. But now...
Here lies the happiest person I ever met. You never watched the news? Ate whatever he wants, smoked. So I'm glad you're more cheerful, and
I am more cheerful. I don't sound it because sometimes when I talk about this, because
anybody who doesn't know you who listen to this might think, oh, well, this guy's gloomy, but actually,
no, I'm not gloomy at all. But these people are wrecking our society. They're wrecking it. They don't want fun anymore.
Yeah.
Fun is fun. Jokes are jokes. You can take you can take the piss. It's like the other day when I read the thing about Clementine Ford, some girls going, I used to like you in your comedy. I even met you once, which was a great thing for me. And now you didn't make jokes about this and about different genders and stuff. Why do you all attack these soft targets? Who's next? Aboriginals or LGBTQ people or women? Or that you just attack women? Why are women soft targets? I thought you said you were strong, independent women. Isn't that your promotion of feminism? You're strong and independent women. There's no difference between men and women. The biological determinism is a myth, right? You can play the same.
But we can't take a joke.
But I thought you were strong and independent.
But we draw the line at puns.
But we draw the line at puns and comedy, and we're soft targets. I thought you said you weren't soft. I thought you said there was men and women are the same. How can you be soft if you're a strong, independent woman? I love strong, independent women with credit card debt. So independent, aren't you? Anyone that's in debt is not independent.
Thank God I'm not in debt.
Yeah, either right.